Mars transit into Aries creates a very fiery conjunction with Rahu. And that's what I talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. On June 27th, Mars will transit into the sign of Aries. It's going to stay there till August 10th, so it's about 43 days. And when it moves into the sign of Aries, guess who's already hanging out in Aries? Well, it's our beloved friend Rahu, or the North Node. Rahu has been in the sign of Aries since April of this year. And so when Mars comes into Aries and it sees Rahu there, the conjunction of Mars with Rahu in any house forms what's called in astrology Angaraka dosh. Why is it called that? Angaraka, literal translation of Angara, means sparks from a fire. So Angaraka means sparks, and dosh, if you translate the word dosha, it means a defect. So if you translate this whole word Angaraka dosh, what it really means is a defect or faults that arise as a result of a fire. So why is it called the Angaraka dosh? Well, the reason is because Mars represents the element of fire and Rahu represents the element of air. So when both of them come together, we would all understand that when you fan the flames, or when you have a fire going and you start fanning it with air, the fire starts to glow brighter or burn brighter. And actually, when you start to fan the flames anywhere, sparks start to fly and the fire starts to burn brighter. Well, this is exactly why it's called the Angaraka dosh, meaning sparks are going to fly and the fire is going to start burning brighter. And so why is it a dosha? Well, one of the things we have to understand is the concept of a fire. Well, fire is represented by the sun, and we need this fire to sustain life. So fire is life sustaining. But at the same time, fire needs to be managed, because fire that goes out of control can be very damaging. So fire needs to be managed at all times. When you fan the flames of any fire that's going on and sparks start to fly all over and the fire gets bigger and brighter, you need to contain that fire. Otherwise, things can get out of control very soon, very quickly, and burn things around it. So hence this combination of Mars and Rahu is considered a dangerous combination, because like I said, Mars is fire and here comes Rahu to fan the flames of Mars. And hence, unless this fire is controlled or managed, things can get out of control very easily. What are the things that can get out of control? Well, the representation of Mars is that it represents the energy within us, the passion that we have within us, and the drive that we have within us. That's what Mars represents. So when those are fanned, or the flames of energy, passion, and aggression are fanned, this can get out of control. Now, we all need a certain amount of ambition, drive, and aggression to move forward in our careers or to get things done in our life. And a certain amount of this, like I said, good energy and drive and ambition is very important for all of us. But when it goes out of control, or when it takes on obsessive tendencies, this is when it's damaging. We all know Rahu is the significator of obsession. And so when all these significations within us, which is the energy, passion, drive, ambition, take on the significations of obsessiveness, then they can be very damaging to us. The other thing we have to understand is that Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is also considered the god of war. And Aries is the Mool Trikon Rashi of Mars. What is a Mool Trikon Rashi? Well, Mars owns 2 zodiac signs of all the 12 zodiac signs. So Mars rules Scorpio and Aries. But Mars favors Aries. And why does it do that? Why doesn't it favor Scorpio over Aries? Mars is comfortable in Scorpio. Mars is also comfortable in Aries because it owns both those zodiac signs. But the one sign is favored over the other because one of the astrology gurus, Pandit Sanjay Rathji, has described it the best way, and I'll explain it to you in the best way. So the Mool Trikon Rashi of any planet that owns 2 zodiac signs is described as the office, or the place of the job or the career of that zodiac sign. The other sign is considered the home of that zodiac sign. So let's understand this for Mars. Well, Mars considers Aries as its place of work or its career, or where it has to do its job. Scorpio for Mars is considered its home, where it takes a more lax approach, or where it takes a little laid back approach. So when Mars moves into Aries, it's going to do its job to the fullest extent. What is Mars' job? Mars, like I said, is the god of war. So Mars takes on the fighter approach. Mars fights for its land. What do the soldiers do? What does the armies do? They protect the land that they belong to, or the countries that they belong to. They protect boundaries of the land or the countries that they belong to. So Mars is very protective about the country, or its office, or its land that it belongs to. So when it comes into Aries and it sees Rahu there, Rahu is considered a foreigner in astrology. So when it comes into Aries, and that's its office, or where it feels most powerful, it sees a foreigner over there. And not only that, but it's the foreigner belongs to the element that's the extreme opposite element. Well, it's going to take on its full form of the god of war and start fighting. It's going to start the battle and say, why are you even here? This is my land. This is my territory. You need to be out of here. So not only does it get angry because it sees somebody else in its office occupying it, but it also takes on this explosive energy because that foreigner, who belongs to the air element, is fanning the flame. So it's almost teasing Mars to an extent and say, well, I'm here, what are you going to do about it? And so Mars takes on the full-blown effect to be the god of war and starts this war. And so the two clash of these two planets creates a very explosive energy, a very, very volatile energy, and hence this combination of these two planets is considered the Angaraka dosh in astrology. There's one more aspect we're going to have to take into account at this time. Saturn is in the house of Aquarius right now, and it's going to stay there till July 12th. And Saturn has the third aspect, that it aspects the third house from it. So right now, the third aspect of Saturn is going to be on Aries. So here's this Angaraka, or this fire, going on in the zodiac sign of Aries, and Saturn is aspecting it. Now Saturn is going to enjoy the show quite a bit, because you know what? Well, Saturn and Mars, first of all, are enemy planets, and second of all, they denote the complete opposite things. Mars is all fire, action, let's do it now, impulsive and rash. And Saturn is the slowest moving planet. It doesn't like to move fast at all. So it's slow, it simmers, it's dry, and it's inaction. So here's the absolute opposite effect that Saturn's going to have on Mars. And so here's Mars wanting to do this action, kill Rahu, get things out of there, burn brighter. And here's Saturn aspecting it and saying, no, you don't need to do that. Let's stop you from that. Let's create some frustration. Well, the Saturn aspect is going to make things where people get very heated because of the Mars because of this Angaraka yoga. People are going to get fiery, hot-headed, angry. But at the same time, this aspect of Saturn is going to create a lot of frustration and struggle in dealing with this anger. Because here's where they're very angry, they're heated, and they want to take action. But here's Saturn making things worse by creating a frustration and the push and the pull. So the pull is going to be where, they want to take the Mars action. And here's Saturn pulling them back and going, maybe not now, don't do this, do something else. And so it's the sense of frustration that's going to boil over in all of us. Sometimes when you have the Mars impact where you just take action and do something and get it over with, sometimes it's almost a little better. But when you have this inward frustration where you want to do something really bad and then you held back and then you want to do it and then you finally do it, it actually comes out in a worse way. So this aspect of Saturn is actually going to create or make things much worse, not only for the whole world, but for ourselves also. So it's going to create this sense of frustration, anger, pent-up anger is kind of the best way to say it. It's going to create this pent-up anger in all of us where we want to do certain things, where we want to say something to somebody in anger, and then we hold ourselves back, but then really want to say it, and then we hold ourselves back, and then we say it in the worst possible way, because this pent-up anger comes out in absolute the worst way possible. So this aspect of Saturn is very damaging at this time also. So what are the general predictions that we can make from as a result of this conjunction? Well, obviously extreme heat, because it represents fire. So in places where it's summer right now, you can see extreme heat and dry conditions. As a result of the dry conditions, there's scarcity of water and challenges for farming and agriculture, as a result of which there could be food scarcity, and obviously food prices will go up over the next few months. They're already been going up. But I think there will be even further challenge. The other prediction we can make is that since Mars represents the metal gold and Rahu represents the metal silver, the price of precious metals, gold and silver, will go up considerably. Then what happens is when the price of precious metal goes up, the stock market goes down and there's volatility in it. So there's a downward economic trend that we can expect, because there's going to be a steep correction in the stock market at this time. So that's the prediction we could probably make at this time. Also real estate, because Mars represents real estate, and so there could be a correction in the real estate prices at this time. One of the not so nice predictions that I'd have to make at this time is probably the creation of a warlike situation in the world. And political unrest also of all kinds within the world in several countries. We already have a war going on in the world, and so the probability of that intensifying is great. Also, the possibility of new warlike situations getting created in the world is definitely exist, and these situations could be over territories or boundaries, because this is what's going on with Mars right now. It's fighting for its territory. So there could be more warlike situations that created because countries are fighting for their territory or protecting their territory and their land. That's not a good prediction to make, but unfortunately we might see that as well. And definitely the fact that there could be a lot of natural disasters related to water as well as fire related disasters. So we have to also be very careful when we're dealing with fire, or if we're doing something with fire in the States. A lot of people do barbecues and stuff outside during the summer months. So you have to be very, very careful when you're handling fire, or even when you're cooking in the kitchen and you're handling fire, I should say. You have to be very careful, because there could be a lot of fire related accidents that happen. But again, natural disasters are possible. So the last time this conjunction happened was in 2004, and so I don't know, a lot of people may not remember that there was this big tsunami that hit the South Asia around the Thailand area in the Indian Ocean. And so that happened when this conjunction was going on. So we could possibly see more natural disasters, fire and water related natural disasters at this time as well. So for people that want to know what happened the last time this conjunction occurred in Aries, so this happens once in 18 years. So the last time it occurred was in 2004. And some of the stuff that happened at that time was, number one, NASA launched its rover mission and successfully landed that on Mars at that time. Also, the big tsunami that occurred off the coast of South Asia, that created that big tsunami, it killed thousands of people at that time, also occurred during that time. And also there was a lot of train blasts in the country of Spain. There was these train blasts that occurred, and transit trains during the rush hour also occurred during this time. Also, the EU, or the European Union, underwent its largest expansion during this time, accepting 10 new states. Let's see what happens this time. And then also, one last piece of information: Vladimir Putin was re-elected the second time during this time. So I don't know what dasha or antardasha he was having at that time. Also, one interesting piece of information: the Boston Red Sox baseball team won the World Series after 1918. Why is that interesting? The Red Sox. Mars is a red planet, so not a coincidence. Now I move on to predictions, like everybody wants me to do, but I'm going to do my predictions just a little bit differently. I'm going to show you the zodiac signs and all the planetary placements for each zodiac sign. This is based on a request that a couple of my subscribers have made, so I'm going to try it just a little bit differently. And you can tell me if you like it or you don't want me to do it this way. My predictions are based on your ascendant sign or the zodiac sign in the first house of your birth chart. They don't have anything to do with the sun signs that you read about in magazines or newspapers. And of course, actual events are always based on your personal birth chart and the dashas and the antardashas that you're running at this time. And as usual, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And this video is so important, so please do share it with friends and family. And if you like it, do give me a like. Aries, this conjunction is happening in your first house, and Mars rules your 8th house as well. Taurus, this conjunction is happening in your 12th house, and Mars also rules your 7th house. Taurus, Mars and Rahu conjunction is occurring in your 12th house, and Mars also rules your 7th house. The 12th house indicates expenses, losses, and all things foreign. You need to be aware that this conjunction is going to make you do a lot of very impulsive purchases and spending, so watch your impulsive spending. Your 7th house is your spouse, so be very careful of your angry outbursts and confrontations within the marriage. Ketu is transiting currently in your 6th house. You cannot take chances with your marriage at this time. You also need to make sure that you don't have any angry conflicts or aggression with your business partners or basically anybody that you come in contact with, even the general public. The positive side of this conjunction is that if you have any business dealings with foreign entities, foreign companies, foreign businesses, or foreign people, it's a wonderful time for that. You can experience growth and advancement in the business if you do any business with such entities. You need to be very careful regarding any impulsive investment decisions at this time as well. Gemini, this conjunction occurs in your 11th house, and Mars rules your 6th house. Gemini, this Mars-Rahu conjunction is occurring in your 11th house, and Mars also rules your 6th house. The 11th house rules your material gains and wish fulfillment. So it's a wonderful time to realize some material gains. These material gains could be from your career, as well as any unearned income that you have been waiting for. Things like insurance, inheritance claims, and things like that are unearned. The 11th house also denotes your friends and network. So it's a wonderful time to grow your network of friends and also your social circle. One of the things that you have to be very careful is how you interact with them. You need to watch your anger with them. Don't get bossy or aggressive with them. You need to be very careful of how you deal with them. Having an aggressive attitude, being bossy, or showing anger to them may permanently damage your relationship with them. The 6th house is a house that signifies health, legal, debts and loans, and also competition. Because of the burst of energy from Mars, it means that you will recover from any health issues that you may be having. If you were having legal issues, they're going to get ruled in your favor. Also, if you were trying for any competitive tests at this time, this is a very favorable transit for you regarding that. Cancer, this conjunction takes place in your 10th house, but Mars also rules your 5th house. Cancer, this Mars-Rahu conjunction is transiting in your 10th house, and Mars rules your 5th house. The 10th house indicates your career. Now, this is a very good and a bad transit at the same time for the Cancer people. The reason it's good is because the Mars energy infuses a burst of energy into your career and also you. So you have all this amazing energy and drive to complete all your work, all your tasks with an amazing, burst of energy and initiatives. But along with this burst of energy, because of the Rahu conjunction with Mars, you're going to have an anger and aggression. And this anger and aggression is going to come out with volatility in all the relationships at work, especially your bosses and seniors. So you're going to be tempted on a daily basis to go tell your seniors off, to go tell your bosses off, and show anger and aggression towards them. And this is why it's bad. Now, as long as you're able to control this anger and aggression against your seniors at work, against your coworkers, this energy can be very well managed to actually give you good results at the end. As long as you control this tendency to tell people off, you can control your anger at work, you can control your aggression at work, this transit can actually give you really good results. My guidance is, in order to make this transit work really well for you in your career, is to use this energy to get all your work done, complete everything on time, work hard to get whatever you need to get done, instead of using this energy and directing it at people in an angry way. Just use it to get the work done. One last thing is, since Mars rules your fifth house, you need to control your anger and aggression towards your children if you have children, and also your love life if you don't have children. Make sure you watch your anger towards your love life and your children as well. Leo, this conjunction takes place in your ninth house, but Mars is also the ruler of your fourth house. Leo, this conjunction is occurring in your ninth house, and Mars rules your fourth house. The ninth house is the house of luck, so you may experience a burst of good luck. Also, sudden travel plans may occur. Now, Mars rules the fourth house, which denotes real estate. So some of you may have some real estate matters that come up at this time, maybe suddenly. If you purchase property at this time, you need to be very cautious and check out the property very carefully and get all your facts before you make the purchase, because there's a chance of being cheated or somebody withholding all the information is very great at this time. Also, the ninth house depicts your father, your gurus, and your teachers. Make sure you don't get into any angry confrontations with any of them. Also, don't disrespect anyone's dharma or religion at this time. That's not going to end really well with you. The other thing is, because of the fourth house getting involved, keep your temper in control with everyone at home and try not to get too frustrated with yourself mentally. The fourth house depicts mental happiness. So make sure you try to control your temper and keep yourself mentally calm. Virgo, this conjunction is taking place in your 8th house, and Mars also rules your 3rd house. Virgo, this conjunction is occurring in your 8th house, and Mars also rules your 3rd house. Mars is not a very good planet for Virgo ascendants, and the fact that this conjunction is occurring in your 8th house is not a very good placement, meaning it's a challenging time for Virgo ascendants. The 8th house represents sudden events, and in this case, it represents challenges with your health at this time. The 3rd house depicts high energy initiatives and your self-effort. And so these will be at a very high during this time. So you make a lot of self-effort and you'll have high energy. But the 8th house conjunction is going to denote sudden events. So you need to be very careful about getting hurt. Mars represents cuts and wounds. So you need to drive very carefully. Don't take chances with your body, meaning, try to do risky things at this time. You may end up getting hurt. I hope you don't, but you need to be very careful. Take care of your health at this time. The 3rd house also denotes short distance travels. So you need to be very careful while driving, especially if you're traveling where it's very hot during this time. Remember, I said that this conjunction indicates heat. So if you're traveling where it's hot, you need to take all the necessary precautions to manage any heat related matters, especially for your body as well as your vehicle. You don't want to get caught in the heat, or you don't want to get dehydrated yourself. Make sure you drink lots of water. And the last word of caution is make sure you're not engaged in any kind of secret activities or do anything shady, because the chance of these matters coming out in the open and people finding out about is very great. And you getting in trouble is highly likely if you're engaged in anything like that. Libra, this conjunction occurs in your 7th house, but Mars also rules your 2nd house. Libra, this fiery conjunction is occurring in your 7th house, and Mars rules the 2nd house. The 7th house indicates your marriage and spouse. It also indicates your business partnership, but it also indicates dealings with the general public and basically everybody or anybody that you come in contact with. You need to be extremely careful in your behavior and attitude towards your spouse. You're going to tend to have anger and combative behavior with your spouse. You also might take a very aggressive approach in your dealing with your spouse, and the same approach you will take with any business partners that you have. Also, this combative attitude and argumentative manner you're going to take with generally anybody and everybody that you come in contact with. This will not work for you. In fact, this can land you in pretty bad trouble if you let it get out of hand. You need to manage your attitude and anger issues very carefully. The 2nd house is also getting involved. So the 2nd house and the 7th house means if you want to invest or start a new business venture with somebody in a partnership, you need to be very careful who you start your partnership with, because Rahu represents getting defrauded or getting cheated. So if you're starting a new partnership, make sure you check things out very carefully before you hand over your money to somebody as an investment or as a partnership. At this time, because like I said, the 2nd house is getting activated. The 2nd house represents family, savings, and also income. So the flip side or the good side of this transit is that the savings will increase and your income will be very good at this time. Scorpio, this conjunction is occurring in your 6th house, but Mars rules your own ascendant, or it's your Lagna Lord as well. Scorpio Mars is your own ascendant or Lagna Lord, and this conjunction is occurring in your 6th house. The 6th house represents your co-workers. So you need to be very careful in how you deal with them, meaning don't take on an aggressive approach with them or become bossy and show anger and get into fights with them. This is not going to work in your favor at all at this time. Things could get out of hand very quickly. The 6th house represents legal and medical matters. So for people that are engaged in the field of law and medicine, this is a wonderful, wonderful time for them. So they can see very good career growth at this time. Like I said, the 6th house represents health matters. So you need to take very good care of your health. If you feel the slightest bit of symptoms, don't neglect them. Make sure you get them checked out very quickly. Rahu has a tendency to hide things. So if you're unwell, it may not give you symptoms as quickly as it should. So make sure you don't neglect anything and make sure you take good care of your health and get checked out as soon as possible. The impact of Rahu on your ascendant sign may make you a little obsessed, give you obsessive tendencies about your goals. And which is fine as long as you manage your attitude and your behavior. Going after your goals is fine at this time. You may actually achieve them at this time, but like I said, need to manage your temper and your attitude, behavior towards your coworkers. Otherwise, it could end badly. But as long as, like I said, you manage your attitude, this could be a good time for achieving your goals as well. Sagittarius, this conjunction is taking place in your 5th house, but Mars also rules your 12th house. Sagittarius, this fiery conjunction is happening in your 5th house, and Mars is your 12th lord. The 5th house represents some of the very positive relationships in our life, like with our children and our love life. Because of this transit in your 5th house, you're going to have to watch your temper in all these relationships so you don't upset or jeopardize them with your aggression. The 5th house also represents creativity. So my guidance is to direct all your energy into starting something new or think of creative ways to meet your goals at work. This way you will redirect your energy or your aggression away from your relationships and into your achievement of your goals by being creative. This is also a great time to learn something new, a new education, start a new hobby, or just generally learn a new skill. It's a wonderful time for that. Now, the 12th house is also activated at this time. So, the 12th house represents expenses and losses. So, you need to control your tendency to overspend or do any impulsive buying because Rahu is going to definitely heighten that impulse in you, which is buying a lot of luxuries or doing some impulsive buying. So, you need to watch that. Capricorn, this conjunction takes place in your 4th house, but Mars also rules your 11th house. Capricorn, this conjunction takes place in your 4th house, and Mars is your 11th lord. The 4th house deals with domestic bliss and household matters. You need to take care of everything that's going on within the four walls of your house with a very good attitude. Make sure you don't take a bossy and a selfish approach at home. Make sure you're very cordial, nice, and adjusting at home. Otherwise, things can get out of hand very quickly where relationships are damaged. The 4th house represents your mother, so make sure you take special care of your relationship with your mother and don't get into fights with her. At this time, you also might be very focused on material gains, desires, and the fulfillment of all your goals. Although you're obsessed about your goals and how you want to get to them, you're going to be very confused and lack clarity on how you can go about to achieve these goals. People that are involved in construction or real estate, or people that are realtors, is a wonderful time for that because the 4th house does represent a real estate transactions, purchase of real estate. So those kind of businesses are going to do really well. People involved in those kind of businesses are going to do really well at this time. The 11th house is involved, so it's a great time to expand your professional network and also your personal friendship circle. Just make sure you watch your attitude with those people as well, and don't take on a bossy attitude or get into conflicts or anger issues with that group as well. Aquarius, this conjunction is taking place in your 3rd house, but Mars also rules your 10th house. Aquarius, this conjunction is occurring in your 3rd house, and Mars rules your 10th house. Now, Rahu is also considered the co-ruler of Aquarius. So this is a very good transit for Aquarius. It's really good because the 3rd house depicts the energy, effort, and intellect, and the 10th house represents your career. So Rahu is going to expand your energy and effort to give some amazing results in your career. The catch here, though, is that you need to control your ego and anger in the workplace. If you can manage your attitude at this time in the workplace with your coworkers and bosses, it's a really good time for career growth for all the Aquarius people. The 3rd house represents neighbors and siblings, so don't get into conflicts with them at this time either. It's going to be a little hard for the Aquarius people to manage their anger at this time because Rahu is also their co-ruler. And so as long as Aquarius can manage their anger, ego issues, and aggressive attitude at this time, this is actually going to give them amazing results. Now, the 3rd house also depicts media, communication, all kinds of communication, written and verbal. So as long as you can keep your communication in a very positive and professional manner, you can actually see some great results because, the way you communicate at work may actually give you amazing results. If you're engaged in the IT sector or if you're a content creator on social media, you can actually see some very amazing results. You might see great expansion and growth related to your career as well because Rahu represents both of those fields as well. So this is a good time for Aquarius. The catch here is to manage your ego and aggression. Pisces, this conjunction takes place in your 2nd house, but Mars is the ruler of your 9th house. Pisces, this conjunction is occurring in your 2nd house, and Mars is also your 9th lord. The 2nd house represents a lot of very important things in our life, like finance, family, food, and above all, it represents speech. This Mars Rahu fiery conjunction is going to give you very harsh or angry speech, especially with because of the 2nd and the 9th house being involved. The speech will be directed at your family members and especially your father. You need to take great care so you don't use this harsh speech against these people and jeopardize relationships with your family members and your father at this time. Also, because the second house finance is getting activated, you need to be very careful before you make any investment decisions or make any money management changes. There are chances of being cheated or being defrauded as well at this time, because Rahu is what causes the cheating or being defrauded. So make sure you think before you make any investment changes. Also, savings, family savings are involved, and with the Mars Rahu conjunction. So you may be very dissatisfied at this time in the fact that you may not get all the financial rewards that you were trying to look for at this time. So you may feel like you're working hard, but you're not getting all the financial rewards at this time. The ninth house indicates some travel, maybe something that you've planned or not even planned and it comes suddenly. So that's a definite possibility. And one last word of caution, make sure you don't get tempted by any addictions of any kind or unhealthy food habits at this time. The second house is involved and it does signify food habits. Make sure you eat very healthy food. Don't get tempted by any kind of, bad addictions at this time as well. And this brings me to the end of my video. Have a good transit, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye for now.